Hello, hello, good morning, and welcome to some raids. Now, this one is not a Raids with Random. This is a Terror raid against the event Ting-Lu with a little bit of bullshittery that I have decided to try out. I'm a Little Teacup, the Polteageist that I had used against the Wo-Chen, I cut out its speed to give it extra hit points and defense to make sure that it has better survivability, now that we don't have to worry about outspeeding the raid boss. And then on another switch, I am bringing the surging strikes. That's right, surging strikes for the triple hit auto crits with Shell Bell to make sure it stays alive. And we're going to go ahead and give this a go to see how this handles Ting-Lu. Now, of course, when the raid starts, we are going to go ahead and try and get skill swap off as quickly as possible to ensure that weak armor gets put onto Ting-Lu. Now, this raid can also benefit from a lot of special attackers. Even though its ability debuffs special attacks, you have tools like Superior with Leaf Storm, Giga Drain, and Gastro Acid to shut off the ability before the shield goes up. Contrary ability works extremely well with Ting-Lu having scripted snarls. Now, of course, if you're not going to be doing the snarl, if you don't want to worry about snarl, you can bring physical attackers instead. High critical hits. Ooh, yeah, the Teapot took 162 damage from the Ruination there. But now that that's gone off, that's pretty much all that that it had to do. Now I can go ahead and set the other switch on a turbo controller for weak armor to do its job. And Stomping Tantrum is going to do a little bit to the Teapot. Fortunately, between leftovers and no longer having much else working against here, I can go ahead and let the Teapot protect. And I can alternate between Protect and Shadow Force to go ahead and remove it from the field for a round at a time. Of course, I do need to be careful with Stomping Tantrums. Ooh, look at that. Life Dew getting me some extra heals. So that's going to help against the Ruination. Unfortunately, we did not get an intimidating NPC, so the Teapot is going to be at some risk here. Oh yeah, now Ting-Lu is actually faster than us because of the because of weak armor. Its speed has gone and maxed out. Although, we do have this added benefit. The weak armor skill swap should be triggering. I'm not seeing it. Okay, it is triggering on the other screen. It just doesn't show every single instance on the one because it has to let that controller go. Going to go ahead and use Protect on the Teacup because that way I can go ahead and make sure that the raid allies get their action as long as the host system goes through. And I am holding to try and get Terastallization on Urshifu here. Now, weak armor should be bottomed out. Heavy Slam also dealing some respectable damage, but not too terribly much. And I'm going to go ahead and have Urshifu do Liquidation for a round so that I can try and save some time, because the Surging Strikes, since it does do the 3-strike, it really can eat the timer quite a bit. There we go. Now I can go ahead and set the turbo controller for that Surging Strikes. Now I do have to also watch out for Surging Strikes having... Oh yeah, the Terastallization actually cut through the shield incredibly fast, since it is going to be at a -6 defense as well. In fact, I can probably go ahead and have Teapot do a Cheer instead, just to try and get that power a little bit... pushed a little bit further, since the Polteageist is not going to be doing too terribly much here. Like, at this point, most of what it can do is remove itself from the field so that it takes less damage. Now this, again, like I said, it's a 2-switch combo that I decided to try. Maybe if I were to give this another go, I would actually run Liquidation to charge up Urshifu's Terra instead of leading with Surging Strikes, so that it can get its Terra charged faster, because the Surging Strikes does take longer to play out, which can eat up the raid timer a fair amount. But since it does trigger the weak armor multiple times per usage, that really does kind of help drag the hit points and defense down, especially if you were to have a full group of physical attackers all piling into it. And at this point, the Teapot really isn't going to be doing much else. It would be best if I just let Urshifu go ahead and take the reins and finish this on the Turbo Controller. Now, this is also the first time I have tried this. I just decided to go ahead and, yep, there we go. That third strike is going to be the KO. Nice. So that is a pretty easy... That one did take us down through most of the timer. Like I said, this was a 2-player strategy that I had tossed together, recycling the Polteageist with the skill swap, weak armor shenanigans going. Of course, Ting-Lu does have a high natural physical defense, so you are fighting against that. Otherwise, if you want to bring special attackers, I believe Superior with Gastro Acid lead, and then alternating Leaf Storm and Giga Drain to go ahead and get through should also be an incredibly good combo here, whether you're going to solo or group raid, because the Gastro Acid will also shut it off for your allies running special attacks, and if any of them bring Acid Spray users, the Superior build is going to go that much harder. In fact, I do wish Superior got access to Gastro Acid myself. That would, or not Gastro Acid, but Acid Spray. That would be a nice little addition to a Superior set. But remember, when you're out there with the Ting-Lu, it does do 2 player stat resets, so when you're doing the contrary Leaf Storms, you got to watch out for those player resets. It'll shut off your ability so that you get a debuff from the Leaf Storm, so that would be a good turn to use Giga Drain instead, just paying attention to that screen. But the benefit here is Ting-Lu only resets its stats once, as opposed to Qian Pao's 3 uses of Haze plus a stat reset. So you do have a little more leeway for fighting against the Ting-Lu.